Life is crazy. Yes, I know this review was way late. I didn't get the chance to even see this movie till this week. I know I'm behind on videos. I went on a trip and then just, like people and social gatherings and all this stuff just kind of piles up. And after all of that, you need time to recover. So now that I'm rested, kind of, and I've seen Cars 3, I'm repping my Cars t-shirt. Let's talk about it. So Cars 3 is the newest movie from Pixar. It's the third movie in the Cars franchise. I don't really know a lot of people that were really hyped for this movie. And in Cars 3, you have Lightning McQueen. He's been racing for a while. Apparently, he's past his prime. I say apparently because he looks and sounds no different than he did in Cars 1. But now there's a bunch of new hotshot racers coming up, mainly this guy named Jackson Storm, played by Armie Hammer. So then it's kind of like Rocky 3, where he's past his prime and he's out of the game, but he's got to get back into the game and he's got to reclaim his title. But then it's also kind of like Rocky 4, because Jackson Storm's using all this high-tech technology, and it's like, oh, machines versus the old school way of training. And then because of some stuff I can't spoil, it's kind of like Rocky Balboa and Creed. Yes, there's a lot going on in this movie. But what I will say about this movie is that I liked it. I thought this was a fun movie. But this is also coming from someone who thinks the first Cars movie is a really underrated Pixar movie. The second movie, it's not my least favorite Pixar movie. It's definitely like bottom 3, but it almost feels like it was a pilot for a Disney Channel TV show that just never actually happened. So yeah, after that bummer that was Cars 2, I did feel like I was kind of refreshed by Cars 3. I had a lot of fun with it. Getting some of the obvious stuff out of the way first is like the animation, for example. Every single Pixar movie I talk about, I have to say, oh, the animation looks amazing. But it's like, people already know that. They already know the animation looks amazing. So why mention it? Because it does. Because these people put a lot of time and effort into it, and I want to acknowledge that. There's just one scene when they're training on a beach, again, Rocky 3. This movie in general is just very reminiscent of Rocky. I'm just gonna get that out of the way now. But anyways, they're training on the beach. You know, you see the water. The water looks really legit. You saw that in like Finding Dory and Piper last year. And part of me was kind of like, I feel like they just went to the beach because Pixar wanted to show off what they could do with water effects. That being said, the water looks really good. It looks real. A lot of the racing stuff I thought looked really solid. That was my favorite stuff in Cars 2. And the voice cast for the most part is pretty good. I like Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen. He got a little too Owen Wilson-y in the first Cars movie, where he would just back up and he'd say, oh wow, Radiator Springs. In this movie, they toned down the wows though, so I appreciated that. Speaking of toning things down, Mater, Larry the Cable Guy, who I don't hate. I don't think the second movie needed to revolve around him at all, but Mater, he's an okay character, but keep him to the sidelines, and that's what they do in this movie. He's honestly not in the movie that much, 15-20 minutes max. And the rest of the cast is pretty good too. There's this one character who's almost like the Mater replacement as far as the sidekick role goes. She's Lightning's trainer, and at first she was really annoying me. In fact, the first half of this movie, the entire time, it's just them going, hey Lightning, you're old. Hey Lightning, go take a nap. Hey Lightning, go get your prostate checked out. Okay, they don't say that, but they like drilling in the point. Hey Lightning, you're old. And so this chick, for like the first half of the movie, she's just doing that the entire time. She's being this uppity, like spin class instructor, and it was just really annoying. She really got on my nerves. In the second half of the movie, I actually thought they were gonna ditch her for a second, but then in the second half of the movie, her character I thought got a lot better. And then there's also a lot of other voices that pop up. You're like, oh, I recognize that, I recognize that. There's actually a few that I didn't recognize, and you hear them in the credits, and then you think back, and you're like, oh wow, I completely missed that. Now, what's interesting about this movie is it almost feels like it was directed by two different people. Because I said overall that I did like the movie. Really, I loved the second half of the movie. First half of the movie, I didn't like it that much. Again, it was a lot of people just going, hey Lightning, you're old. Hey Lightning, you're past your prime. And then Lightning's going, I decide when I'm done. I can still race. Put me back in, coach. And that kind of just got annoying after a while. It was the same shtick. It wasn't really that funny at all. See, what I loved about the first Cars movie is it was about racing, but the core of the movie, it was about Radiator Springs. It was about the love of old America and the old American culture of cars and communities and small towns, and what you can experience if you slow life down and just appreciate the little things in life. And the second half of this movie, it started to focus in on that kind of stuff more, and I was like, oh, it's just like Cars 1. And this stuff was nowhere in Cars 2, so I'm really glad that they brought it back. And there's some characters that come back and some new characters that are tied to old characters from the first movie, and it just really made me appreciate the movie a lot more once that second half rolled around. And again, the instructor character, who was kind of annoying at first, she started to annoy me less, and I actually wound up liking what they did with her character. So it almost sounds like this movie should be more of a mixed bag than it is, because I didn't really like the first half, but I really liked the second half. And if those two were flipped, I probably wouldn't like the movie as much, because what's probably the most impactful part of a movie is what the movie leaves you with. That's why you hear a lot of people saying, oh, this movie was awesome except for the ending, and I hated the ending, so I hated the movie. So when the movie left me on a high note, I was pretty jazzed. I was like, oh yeah, Cars, this is cool. But if the movie started out strong and then fizzled out near the end, I'd probably be like, hey, you don't need to go see this movie. But again, I also gotta preface all this with the fact that I liked Cars 1. I know there's a lot of people out there that didn't like Cars 1 and really didn't like Cars 2. And so if you're one of those people, I don't know if you'd really like this movie. So I'd probably say you'd appreciate this movie if you liked Cars 1. If you didn't like Cars 1 or 2, this isn't the movie that's gonna get you on the Cars train. But I found this movie did have a lot to enjoy. The animation's good, the voice acting was good, the second half of the movie was really strong. First half of the movie was pretty clunky and awkward, but the movie again does kind of have a nice message of slowing down, appreciating life, not putting all your eggs in one basket, realizing that your career isn't everything, and just because you're in a transition phase in life doesn't mean that your life is over. In fact, there was one scene in this movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's in, I believe the town was called Thomastown, when Lightning and his trainer go there, and there's this one scene in a garage, and I started tearing up. I was like, whoa, that's really good. That is the Pixar that I remember, and the Pixar that I did see in Cars 1. So I would say check out Cars 3, even though Despicable Me 3 comes out today, and I'm sure that movie's gonna kind of sweep Cars 3 under the rug. I don't think Cars 3 should be overlooked, so check it out if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen Cars 3, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, you can click subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys next time.